Hello, everyone. I am Elise Randolph, joined by Moderator, introducing you to the Streamfleet Showdown Invitational. This is the second one, by the way. We've actually got the finals here for you guys. Game one, it's a best of three between Spooky Action at a Distance and Zero Talent. Moderator, why don't you break down some of these teams for us?
Sure, I'd love to. On Zero Talent side, we've got Hoodie Mafia, former co-captain of the Tuskers tournament team that won the Alliance tournament a couple years back. We've got just a plethora of excellent pilots on their side, one who even won the MAR championship a year back. And Spooky Action at a Distance is no slouch either. They've got Vordat Cowder, former captain of the Thermo team, El Diablo, former captain of the Exodus tournament team a few years back. Excellent pilots on both sides. No surprise that we're seeing both in the finals of this event.
Yeah, these teams are super stacked. Oh my God. I mean, even just going down, like you just have like co-captains on co-captains. But here's the format. They all have like different setups that they can bring to the finals. And each team gets to ban one of the other person's teams. You can see at the top there, Spooky Action at a Distance banned, or actually got banned, their Manticore, Bifrost, Caracal, Orthrus, Drake, Raven setup. And, these captains on a similar wavelength. They banned the Zero Talent Hawk, Stork, Caracal, Navy Issue, Orthrus, Drake, Raven setup. So everyone kind of just wants to get away from those Caracals and Drakes and Raven, just some spammy missile kite stuff.
Yeah, those Orthrus and Caracal Navy issues very effective at killing the smaller ships in the field. Neither side wanting to risk that and choosing to go with a bit of a larger comp.
Yeah, so I really like kind of the way these teams work and how these captains think, at least in terms of theory crafting. This Zero Talent team is kind of interesting. It's got a Praxis as their battleship with a Cyclone, another ship that we hardly ever see in tournament play, augmented with a Gila, Caracal Navy Issue. Obviously, those are really great at applying distance at range and being kind of tanky. And they've got a Stork and a Hawk winding up their support.
Yeah, we're seeing definitely Zero Talent want to go for a heavy missile team that's got shield, but also good active tank bonuses on that Cyclone, good resists on that Gila. Caracal Navy can apply damage very far away. Stork will provide links, and the Hawk is just a very beefy assault frigate ship to pin down and get tackle on whatever they want to apply that missiles to. On the Spooky team, that Typhoon, Prophecy, Ashimmu, you got the webs to hold down whatever the Prophecy and Typhoon are applying to. Stabber Fleet is a very fast tackle ship supported by a Kikimora and Retribution, good for applying lots of damage and being very tanky for support.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a look at this Praxis real quick. It's a ship that you generally don't see too much unless you live in a wormhole and you just want to roll some holes. But this in this format, it actually just plays, right? So this one, it's as you were mentioning, it's kind of active shield boosted, which everyone likes pushing buttons, and it's cruise missile fit as well. So it's got a lot of range. You can just sit down. It's not going to move anywhere. It's just going to be a brick in the middle of the arena, but it could hit out all the way to the corners of the arena in this fit.
Yeah, it almost makes me feel like I'm casting a StarCraft match with the APM you'd need to keep up with a ship like this. A lot of active modules, supplying capacitor to your teammates, active tanking, and making sure that you're not overheating any of those defensive modules while also applying damage and making sure your drones apply is going to be a challenging role for whatever pilot's going to be inside this vessel.
Yeah, that should be pretty interesting. And the other team, they do have an Ashimmu, which maybe that will, like the cap warfare that can offer along with the rest of the control, it might be enough to give this Praxis a bit of a hard time. But I have a feeling Praxis boy over here is just gonna be real happy sitting, not getting shot, and just lobbing its cruise missiles at everyone.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree.
So do you prefer, if you're bringing a battleship to something like this, would you prefer taking a Praxis like this? Because the teams, they don't know how this Praxis is going to be fit, and it's one of the most versatile ships in EVE, because it gets bonuses to just kind of everything. Would you rather have a Praxis or something more standard like a Typhoon or a Raven or something like that?
Personally, I'm inclined to favor something that's a known quantity, more like the Raven or the Typhoon. But the Praxis definitely, until you see what's on grid, you're going to have no idea how it's fit just because it has, as you mentioned, all those different roll bonuses to whatever. And now the match is about to start here. Zero Talent deciding that they are going to come in at maximum range and Spooky at close range.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a stagger on the spooky action at distance side. You can see them in red as the match starts to go. Now they're actually rushing into the zero talent side, and this Kikimora from Blood Ruin is just kind of hiding in the back. He knows he does not want to die very quickly.
Yeah, we're seeing tackle and, or rather, target painters being applied both to that Ashimmu and to the Praxis. Zero talent not wanting those webs and newts to be in effect long term into the match.
Yeah, the longer a match goes, the more effect that the newts have on any team, obviously, because that cap drain is a thing that just goes on and endures through the entire match. But it looks like Zero Talent have swapped over to the Stabber Fleet issue, seeing that it's out of position just a little bit. They're all kind of bunched together.
Yeah, Spooky at a distance is just using their Typhoon at long range, applying those cruise missiles. Kikimora also keeping at range, just applying at maximum range. Most of their ships deciding to kite away except for their heavy tackle. That Stabber Fleet issue has now swapped the tackle over to the Hawk of Frankie Sakin, wanting to make sure it's not going to be pinned down longer into the match.
Yeah, so it just looks like both teams, Spooky Action is just trying to position themselves a little bit. Zero Talent, they're just saying, whatever, we came here in a blob, we're not moving. I'm no prop mods on any of their ships right now. And so they're just trying to, it looks like both sides are just trying to figure out which side they want to crack through first. And it does look like the Stabber Fleet issue on the Spooky Action at this side is probably going to fall first.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you, and we're not seeing much being traded back. The shields of Jose Sampano's Praxis are bobbing up and down, but Vordak Caliber is not going to be long for this world.
Yeah, we'll see how his tango goes up. He actually looks like he's broken free a little bit, so he's going to be running towards the end. You can see him going back with a whole bunch of drones following behind him. He's just trying to bring those guys out and pull them off somewhere. But, this Praxis can hit all the way to the arena edge if it wants to. So we'll see if this Stabber is going to soak up more damage or if it's going to survive a little bit longer.
And already we're seeing the Stork try to burn out and then burn back in, and those drones just chasing after the Stabber, darting across the field as fast as it can. It looks like Spooky at a distance has swapped over to the Gila of BAP on Zero Talent side and are just plinking away at the shields, but it's not doing enough to break.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like you don't really want to shoot anything here. The larger ships, the Typhoon, can't really apply to this Hawk and Stork too well. This Gila is just too tanky. This Praxis is just too tanky. This Cyclone can probably out-rep half the team. So what do you go for here? I guess, I would go for this Navy Caracal, but it's also kind of a beefy guy too.
Yeah, we had seen that the Praxis fit at the beginning of the match had a lot of shield boost amplifiers, and it wouldn't surprise me if Zero Talent had chosen to go with those on top of both their Gila, their Cyclone, making it very difficult for Spooky to actually break anything on Zero side. And already, speaking of breaking, Vordak is just kiting across the field into low structure as the drones are finally catching up with him.
I don't know if he's going to be able to survive. He's just barely holding on to just inches of structure over here. Oh, there it goes. So Spooky Action at a distance have the Vordak Stabber Fleet issue go down. Zero Talent take that beginning lead. It kind of looks like it's a pretty commanding lead as well, given the rate at which these ships are dying, or I should say not dying.
Yeah, Frankie Sakin is target painted and is into about half shields, but that Hawk is just running away. Given that there's only TAC 1 drones on the field, the Hawk can do a good job at just kiting away from drones, but it is dropping into the lower end of shields. Meanwhile, Blood Rune's Kikimora is getting plinked away and is target painted.
Yeah, that's a great ship to take down on the Zero Talent side. You want to get rid of that Kiki. If it can just sit and apply and ramp up its damage on one of these ships, it might be enough, because that thing can pump out oodles of damage if you let it ramp up and kind of go unchecked here. So this Kiki Blood Rune, he can't just go in and he can't just stay out. So if he goes in, he dies. If he stays out, his ship is completely ineffectual. So he's got kind of a decision to make here.
Unfortunately, all Blood Rune can really do is apply his damage to those drones, and unfortunately, as Elise was alluding to, it takes a long time to ramp up your damage, and it's going to be rather ineffectual. Meanwhile, the Stork of Karl Rokadan is dropping into the low shield, nearly into armor, as we see him kiting away from those drones. Spooky action now getting tackle on top of Karl with that Retribution from Volana, and the Stork looks like it will drop.
Wow, that's actually a really good turnaround here. The Blood Rune came in, kind of distracted the Zero Talent team, maybe pulled the Stork and Hawk off a little bit too far. And after that, Spooky Action just said, "Hey, you know what? We've got this Retribution. We can run these guys down." And that's exactly what they did. So Stork and Hawk down, trade for a Stabber Fleet issue. I'd say that's a pretty okay trade if you're Spooky Action at a distance. And it looks like now they're going for this Navy Caracal, probably the weakest ship on the field right now. But as you can tell, Mawderator was correct. Hoodie Mafia's Navy Caracal is active tanked, and he will be boosting. And it's going to be kind of hard to break through him too.
Hard to break through him, yes, but a little easier now that that Stork of Karl is no longer applying links. We see the Prophecy bursting links right now, giving the support to the Kikimora, which desperately needs it right now.
And they are clumped together. They also have remote energy transfers. So they're kind of like pseudo tinkering, but not really. Just if anyone gets like really low on cap, they can boost one another up to tank away. So it's going to be pretty tricky here. I guess Zero Talent are going to have to go for this Kikimora, even though they've got that target painter on the Prophecy. They really do need to get this Kiki down.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree here. Zero Talent, the Caracals being primaried. Having lost a Stork, they'll have less links, but we just saw a moment ago Nudispar Cyclone pop links. And as Elise was mentioning, we have seen the fit of the Praxis have a remote energy transfer, so that Praxis will be supplying the Navy Caracal capacitor to keep that tank up, but you have to be shooting the Navy Caracal. The Cyclone has the massive bonus to the active tanking amount. Gila has a resist amount as well, so the Navy Caracal seems like the natural choice here.
Crucially, we just saw this Prophecy send out a command burst, and I do believe the Kikimora was out of range on this one, and it does look like Zero Talent are focusing on the Kiki really hard now. He does have a small active rep, but there's no way he's going to be able to tank this. He's going to go down.
Yeah, Blood Rune, we see him overheating his propulsion and just staying barely out of the range of those drones. Only 2 now on top of him. He may survive in just a sliver of hull here. If he can kill those last drones, he will survive home free. We now see...
He's getting quite close to that arena edge, though. He's going to have to turn, and those drones are going to catch up to him a little bit. But as you mentioned, he repped up quite a bit on his run out. Maybe just enough, actually.
Yeah, it would seem like those might be Gila drones. We're seeing only 2 chasing after him. That would make sense if it was a Gila. Speaking of the Gila, Bap's Gila is getting nuded, and that Navy Caracal has lost his shields and keeps popping back up, as you would expect in a Tinker match.
Yeah, while we were busy following this Kiki around the arena, and as Zero Talent were following him too, the Navy Caracal piloted by Hoodie is kind of into armor here. This is not where he wants to be. I mean, he can burst for a while, but the Spooky Action at this side, noticing what's going on, noticing this slight cap chain, is trying to nude out this Gila here. And nuding out the Gila does 2 good things, right? It takes off that cap transfer, and also takes off any energy active hardeners that it might have. So if they want to swap that for the next target after the Navy Caracal.
Yeah, I would be a little bit more inclined to trying to stagger the newts on the Caracal to drop its heavy resist modules and be able to punch through the Caracal. Speaking of punching through, that Kikimora has actually completely sustained and is regenning shields at this point. The Ashimmu actually, now having gotten in close to everything, we see it dropping down into hull, and if that Ashimmu drops, it's going to be all over for the side of Spooky Action at a distance.
Yeah, Spooky Action at a distance here. You can just tell how frustrating it must be to pilot against this, right? Zero Talent, they get 1 ship almost dead, and then he just pulls out of range. And so they just kind of cycle ships in and out. The Typhoon obviously doesn't have to move, but all these other ships, they can just dart in and out, in and out, in and out. And you can see this Ashimmu is now applying everything it can to this Caracal Navy Caracal by Hoodie Mafia, and I think it's finally going to get him down.
Yeah, 10 seconds left, and the Caracals keep keeps on bopping up and down, and it shields, and it finally drops. The Caracal of Hoodie Mafia drops with 10 seconds left on the clock.
Oh my god, that was a huge
distance.
pull off, and it looks like Blood Ruin came in to get that off, but Blood Ruin, oh my god, with only 2 seconds left, Blood Ruin also drops.
Yeah, Blood Ruin drops, but both sides have all of their core ships in the battleship, the cruiser, and the battle cruiser. So the Volana, the Retribution, will win it on time for Spooky Action at a distance. Spooky will go up 1-0 over Zero Talent as this match concludes.
What a match, Mod. That was insane. It looked like nothing was happening for the first 7 minutes, and then right in the last 20 seconds, the crucial ships explode. Great piloting by both sides. Spooky Action at a distance. Really, really well done there, just by being super annoying and frustrating for those poor Hoodie Mafia team as they were just kind of tinkering around. Zero Talent, though, as the name suggests, they actually have a lot of talent. They can definitely come back from this. They've got kind of the winning clutch gene going on for them. And so we can expect to see quite a lot of good explosions from them in match 2 coming up.
Yeah, and we expect that all the matches will be hopefully as exciting as this nail-biting brawl was. So for Elise Randolph and myself, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of the event.